Got it.
Fantastic.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our Job Search Council. Today is what's today? July 15th. And we have a guest speaker today talking a little bit about the whole recruiting process. So Mike actually was referred to me because he had a position open. And so I reached out. He sent me the info about the position. We dropped it in the Club Ichi Slack channel. And I was like, hey, actually, since you do this all day in and out, would you come in here and chat with us a bit? So, Mike, I'm so excited to have you here. Pronounce your last name for me.
Mechanic, like a car mechanic. It's just
It is Mechanic. Okay.
It's probably an Ellis Island thing.
Awesome. Nicole, if you wouldn't mind spotlighting the two of us, then we'll just hop in here. So, Mike, tell me a little bit about your company. You're a third-party recruiter. Tell me what you do.
So I'm a recruit. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I own my own business. We recruit specifically for outdoor, athletic, and active lifestyle brands. So I work with a bunch of brands, some as a in-house consultant, essentially, and then some as a traditional contingent or retained recruiter. And my clients come to me and say, "Hey, Mike, we need CEO, secretary, whatever it is, I guess event marketing professional." And I go out in the world and find those people for my clients.
So I was a recruiter for about 6 months right before the economy tanked in 2001-ish, somewhere in there. I don't remember, but I got into it because I really thought I would be able to help people find jobs. But it turns out recruiters actually find people for jobs, not jobs for people. So I think that's the part of the misconception that people in our world are like, oh, I'm going to find a recruiter, give him my resume, and he'll work for me. But tell us how it really works.
Yeah, so I mean, exactly what you said. The reality is that what a recruiter can do for a job seeker is be another avenue of potentially finding a job, but they are not a solution for finding a job. What I always tell people is that I have a job I'm working on currently. If it's a fit for them, great. But no matter what I want to do is get on the phone with them, understand what they do, so I can keep them in mind for jobs until one of us retires. And anyone that's going to promise you they're going to find you a job, they're probably lying to you. Or if not lying, they are probably overselling their abilities to do it. Because the reality is, we can't invent jobs. I can't meet a great person, no matter how this could be the best. It could be the best applicant in the world. If I don't have a client that has a need for that person, companies don't just invent budgets for people. They need to have an opening and a need in the organization. And so what I do is I work with clients to find the people.
And so does a candidate ever pay a recruiter to go find a job for them, or does the candidate just submit a resume when a job gets posted?
I've heard that there are agencies that do that, but I'm very dubious of their ability to actually do it. And I actually know that some recruiting agencies will ask for a period of exclusivity to work with them. I don't see how that's a useful a useful way to go about it. I think that what I know from talking to other recruiters, that what they're trying to do is use you as a way to get in the door. So they'll say, hey, they'll say to a hiring manager, we have this great candidate. They're amazing. You look at them, and the hiring manager is like, sure, I'll look at them. And they'll take a look at them, and then well, we don't have any openings right now for this person. Okay, well, if you don't have any openings for this person, what do you have openings for, right? So they're using your resume that might be phenomenal, but it's simply just to get them in the door, so now they can access all the jobs that the company does have. I would strongly recommend not doing any sort of exclusivity or paying anyone to find you a job, just because it's just not how any hiring process I've ever seen works. Companies have jobs or they don't.
Yeah. And then a lot of times I'll see on the job postings at the bottom, not accepting recruiters or applications or something like that. So tell me about that.
Well, all that is they don't want to be harassed. So the big thing I would say for all of you, the big word of my day for today is empathy. You got to imagine what it's like for these hiring managers and these HR people. And the biggest thing that's come in most recently is Indeed and these job aggregators create a completely different landscape for these HR people is you got to imagine almost entry-level HR person is generally put in charge of wherever the resumes come in. And if they post them and they're a company you've heard of, they're looking at hundreds, if not thousands of resumes. And you might be the perfect resume, but you're still one of thousands. This poor HR individual is just clicking through, and it's mind-numbing, quite honestly. And they're just looking for a handful, two handfuls of applicants out of those that they can give to the hiring manager, who then is super busy because they have this job need. So they're probably doing 2 or 3 jobs at a time. And they're sitting there like, I don't have time to go through these resumes. And so whatever you can do, put yourself in a place of empathy to try and figure out ways to solve those problems for the HR people and the hiring managers. How can you make it easier for them to find you, rather than thinking, I think thinking about it as a way like, oh, it's so frustrating, they're not getting back to me. Oh, they're doing these things to me. The reality is they're drowning, right? There's a reason this job exists. The jobs don't exist unless there's a bleed, right? There must be a bleed in the organization. And your job is to figure out, and all across the entire hiring process, how to cauterize the wound, right? How does your background fit the need that they have, and how are you going to solve that problem for them, and do it in a way that is as easy for them as possible, right? Rather than thinking about it like, oh, I have all these skills, I have this amazing applicant. That's true, absolutely great, but the hiring manager has these handful of things they need solved today. And how do you show that you're going to solve those things ASAP for them? And then yes, they'll start considering all those other things you have stacked up on top of it. But to me, the real challenge of today's hiring is coming at the process with empathy, trying to understand all the different, pushes and pulls that the people that you're trying to get in front of have in their lives, and thinking, and then approaching it from that perspective. It's why I have a job, right? I have a job because these HR people are inundated with resumes. They don't have time. I give them 5 resumes, 10 resumes at most that they know are going to be spot on. That saves them a whole bunch of time. Then I get it with a hiring manager, and I you make it very easy for them to understand how this person is going to stop that bleed, right? How is this person going to specifically stop that bleed? And that now it takes out all that other stuff, all that, everything that gets in the way of the hiring process that slows it down. I can remove that from them and make it a conversation between the hiring manager and someone that actually has the skills that they're going to solve. And now what I do is I prep the candidate, I prep the person. Hey, here's the need that they have. You better, during this interview, focus on talking about how you're going to solve that problem, because all the other stuff that you have in your life that is amazing, all the other skills that you have are great and they should be brought up, but you're going to focus on the specific need that they have when you get the interview and how you're going to solve that, because they don't really care about the other stuff until they know that, oh, you can solve this problem that I've had for 6 months now.
So what is your process, in the sense that I know I sent 2 or 3 people your way as candidates for a role. So now what do? Do you interview every single one that comes, or do you just kind of go, okay, these 2 were actually really good, I'm going to talk to these?
Yeah. So if what I'll do is, if sometimes I'll post jobs, more often than not I headhunt, but if in a scenario where if I'm referred somebody or I headhunt them, I'll talk to all of them. If I'm posting a job, this is the reality. Honestly, if you post a job, right? If any one of you want to go on Indeed and post a job, it's a learning experience, because you're going to have people from all over the world, from every single background you could possibly imagine, applying to your job that you just made up.
I once had a train engineer apply to my event management job.
I've had attorneys apply for marketing jobs. I'm like, first of all, I don't know how much an attorney makes, but it's probably more than a marketing specialist. And we're not, this is, and also you don't have any of the skills needed for this. And it's unbelievable. So yeah, I think that it's fair for me to screen people that only meet the criteria of the job that I posted. I do try and respond to everybody and say, no, you're not a fit for this. But like, if you don't have the, again, back to empathy, if you don't have the kindness to actually read the job description and realize it's not a fit for you, like, why should I, on my side, then go even further than you're willing to go?
I think it's a problem with these easy applies. You can just go down the list and be like bloop, 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 and not even read them anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Indeed, it's made it, I feel terrible for these poor HR people that are stuck all day long, just clicking from resume to resume to, and yes, they have AI that sort of makes it, but I mean, you probably, if you, Liz, I don't know if you've ever seen what, sometimes it's accurate, what the little blurb that the AI gives you, but sometimes it's not at all accurate, and it can be, it's so time consuming. I mean, so my advice, this is why I have a job, try and make it so you're not just one of those resumes. I mean, I think the
Yeah.
moral of the story is try and do anything you can. Find somebody who's related to somebody, a friend of a friend, someone you went to high school with that can somehow get you connected. Just get your resume in front of that hiring manager, not with the group of resumes that they know are mostly mediocre. If you can have anybody, any human being that has any, even the tiniest, oh, they work for the same company, put your resume on that person's desk. That is 70% of the battle.
Yeah. So John has a question of obviously every company is different. How do you find out the company's pain points before you send the resume or speak to the recruiter if you can't read between the lines of the job description?
It's a great question. I would say that when you're applying, you can try and figure that out, and you can try and tailor your resume to make sure you're checking the boxes within within the job description. But generally speaking, what you're gonna have is if you get past the point of like you get a conversation, it's usually with an HR person, but it could be with a hiring manager. One of the first questions needs to be, hey, what's the biggest thing you're looking for? Like, why is this job open right now? So there's lots of different ways to say that, and you should tailor that to who you are. But basically getting to the bottom of like, hey, what's the big thing you're looking for here? And now I'm tailoring everything I say to making sure I hit the heck out of whatever that thing is, that because oftentimes you get a screening call with an HR person, and that's a great time to find out what the heck is this hiring manager really looking for.
Do you have an opinion on all of these projects that are now being required during the interview process and people giving away their intellectual property in order to apply?
I yeah, I think it's really hard. I think that um there's a line, and I don't know where that line is, but I understand it from both sides. I understand how, if you're an applicant, this is what you pay me for, right? You're asking me to do exactly the thing that I get paid for. I see this more like the biggest challenges I see is in the creative space, because they'll literally ask people to like do a graphic design. It's like, that's my job. I do graphic design. Like, it's like, but I also understand from the company stand, and again, we're talking about empathy here. I understand from the company standpoint, they don't want to get you into a job you're not going to be a fit for, right? They want to see, hey, and I think that there's healthy ways to do this. If I'm a client and I'm going to make you do a project, I better commit some time on the other side where me and my team are going to get to talk to you about the project and give you feedback and figure out together, hey, is this going to be a fit? Because quite honestly, from your perspective, you don't want a job that isn't going to be a fit, because you're just going to be in the same position you're in now 3 months from now if it's not a fit. So I know you're like, oh, we all want to take our pitchforks out and say, oh, it's terrible, but like there is a value to it. You want to be at a company that's a true fit, and a lot of the times actually going through a work process of some sort and getting feedback and understanding, hey, excuse my language, they're assholes about giving feedback, right? Well, I probably don't want to work with those assholes, or oh, this was really actually enlightening. I learned something. They might have gone with a different candidate, but like I actually was able to get something out of the process, and actually I have a takeaway from this process now. So I mean, I don't think there's an easy answer there. I understand both sides of it, and I think that
Yeah.
setting personal boundaries, but also again doing it with empathy, is the
Yeah.
the
I
process.
think we struggle because as event professionals, we tend to be servant leaders and we want to please. And so when we get asked something like that, we're just like, well, of course I can do that in my sleep. Let me just spend a day getting that ready for you. And so a lot of us have talked a bit about when you prepare something, you should prepare the what you would do, not the how you would do it, so that they can see the way that you're thinking, how you would think about executing it, but not how you would execute it. We had somebody in our Slack channel posted like the list of things that somebody was asking them to do in order to apply. And he was like, what do I do? And we all responded, you send them an SOW.
Right. Yeah, I think that yeah, yes, you can send them an SOW, or you can also say like, hey, try and sort of talk through like, what are you really looking for, it's like, what are you really looking for? Like, this feels like a lot of work, like for, an interview process.
On.
Are we gonna have a chance to like, are we gonna have a chance to review this with your group? What is this process going to look like? So it's like if you're just sending it in, they're reading it, and it's one person reading it, and it's never going to be seen again. Then it's you're wasting a lot of your time, right?
Yeah.
For my clients, if there's a project involved, I want it to be on the final round of the interview, and it's a team you're presenting a project to a team, you're going over it, either in person or on a Zoom call, and there's feedback happening, and it's a two-sided conversation. So the client, it actually has to put in some time to it as well. Again, it stinks, but I think it can be a very healthy part of the process.
Sure. There's a question about one of the challenges I've seen is that the time it takes to track down a referral, by then the job app has been pulled down or closed, too many applicants. So do you have any recommendations there other than work faster?
Have your referrals ready. If you're in an active looking phase, get 3 to 5 people that like, hey, listen, I'm applying to a bunch of jobs. Do you mind if I put you down as a referral on them?
I think she means someone
Oh,
inside
I
the
mean, like
company.
you were saying, sorry, and I'm just sweaty from my morning run. You were just saying that it's always better to go through someone in the company, which I do. I go to my second connections, my third connections, but people are busy, they've got jobs. And so just last week I reached out to someone, and by the time they got back to me, I'd already sent them a personalized resume for the job, right? Within an hour, the job was posted. By the time they got back to me and said, absolutely, I'm going to pass it along, go apply online, the job was pulled down.
Yeah, I think yes, you are gonna. So I think using a double barrel approach, it doesn't hurt to apply online unless you like, for a recruiter. For me, it would hurt me. Like, I can't put you in front of a job but for almost all other cases, like if you're going through an internal source, also applying online. So like in case that person does take too long, it's not gonna hurt, right? As long as it's an internal referral.
Yeah, I think the challenge is that a lot of systems don't allow the person to get credit unless they go through your personalized link. So if someone, obviously everyone wants to do this out of the benefit, the goodness of their heart, but at the end of the day, I want Liz to be able to get credit. I mean, a lot of companies have $2,000, $5,000, right? And
Yeah.
she's not going to get credit if I apply online before she can refer me. Even if she then refers me in the system, because I applied online before she had a chance to do it, it won't be tagged to her, and that opportunity will be gone for her. And that's okay. I mean, if we're at the end of the day, I got to get the job, but then Liz is also less motivated, right? If I say, hey, Liz, I already applied, she'll be like, oh, well, no problem. I can pass it on, but there's no motivation other than being a good person, which people are, but to an extent, right? There's a lot of people hiring and there's a lot of jobs. So, how many times can you go back to the same well, right? So it's more like that balance, I guess, of figuring out how to do that.
Totally. I would also say there's thinking about it just from what you were just saying. There is a thing, like if you're bringing good talent into the organization, people are going to notice that. So there is something for the person that is referring to you, like beyond, yes, money is better. But like people want to be the person who's bringing people into the company. So there is something in it there is a whiff for them. But I think there's no silver bullet answer for you, which I know we're all looking for silver bullet answers. I think that when you make the request, maybe probably a healthy thing to do is like, hey, listen, I need to do that. I like, this job just went posted. I need to get my resume in front of them. Like, if you don't have time, just let me know, or some sort of language in the ask where you sort of let them know there's a time frame issue. So that way, if they've missed the boat, you've told them there's a time frame, like, if you're costing them $2,500, I need to get this in within a couple of days. Are you able to do that? If not, I'll just apply directly. That way you're giving them the opportunity to get your information in front of them and get that money, but then also saving, making sure that you're not waiting a week and having the job go away before you even get a chance to apply.
So another question in here is, I'm trying to update my resume for every single job. I'm using the same words in the job description to make sure my skills match, but I still can't get through the ATS. Do you know what's going on?
I hate ATSs. It's exactly what I said. It's the resume is going in front of people, and it's your problem. Most people are applying to companies that everyone's heard of, and everyone's applying to those jobs. And so, like, you are still going to be at a disadvantage from a numbers perspective, because there's this poor, you got to understand, it's these poor junior human resources people that are like going through so many resumes, and it is boring as all get out. And you're like, and a lot of times the ATSs like don't quite pull the information right, and that's mind numbing, and you're doing extra steps there. And so it's a real numbers game. So that, again, the biggest thing I can tell you is to try and get around ATSs any way possible.
So technical question, I don't know if you know this, but if you get declined by an ATS, or I've got some friends that submit and then within a half a second get an auto rejection, even if it's not, but then you get a referral in, are you still in the system somewhere, or are you like now blocked because you got rejected?
Depends on the company.
Okay.
I would tell you, it doesn't, the hiring manager is not going to give a flying fart about whether or not ATS has rejected you.
Okay.
Like they're like, the hiring managers can be like, well, the ATS is stupid. Like,
Okay.
And honestly, the HR people are like, not all. There's a huge range in any job of human beings that you get. We've all worked with people that are very specific about certain things, but by and large, HR people are judged by time to fill. The HR people are being, that's their job is to get it filled, and how it gets filled is less important than it getting filled. And so their system that they probably didn't choose, that they probably weren't even involved in the decision-making process for how it got chosen, rejected you, and somehow you got in another way. As long as it doesn't cost them their budget, they don't care. They shouldn't care. They shouldn't care. They might care, but they shouldn't care.
Okay, so in the last few minutes here, as we have job hunters out there going on Indeed and going on LinkedIn and going on these places, how can they use recruiters like you as a resource? Should they reach out to every single one that exists in the world and send everybody a resume, or just wait for you to post something? In all things, I would say, go reach out in all things in life, with regards to getting a job, because they don't know who you are until they know who you are, and LinkedIn has everybody essentially now in the world, so it's really hard to find you, even if you are a great fit on LinkedIn. And so reach out to recruiters, let them know who you are. Yeah, send them your resume, give them a quick little blurb, and then what I would recommend is ask them to have 15 minutes to chat, and try and only keep it to 15 minutes, because like, if they don't have a job, if they don't have a job for you, all you're trying to do is be a little bit sticky in their brain. So when they do have a job, you're like, oh, I remember that person, right? And you want to send them your resume, because this is what I always tell people on LinkedIn. I got to bump into you again. If I have your resume, you're in my database, and I can find you much easier. So you want to get your resume in front of the recruiters, but absolutely reach out to any recruiter that is remotely in the space that you're going after. Yeah, and are there like, do you as a recruiter, do you kind of focus on, I do marketing things, I do whatever, or do most people do everything?
Really depends. I think it seems like most recruiters specialize in certain types of jobs. I don't. I specialize in types of industries. So like I said, active lifestyle brands, and I work with really anything within that space. But there are definitely some agencies that focus on. There's a lot of IT and accounting ones, because those people are really hard to find. But yeah, there are definitely ones, people that, agencies that focus on marketing, that focus on, you know, and then different types of verticals too. Like I know there's food and beverage agencies out there. There are, you know, CPG recruiters out there. So I'm sure there probably are events recruiters out there.
And is the best place to find recruiters to go through LinkedIn and look for that title, or is it like Google searching or just anything? Cast the net.
If they're a recruiter and they're not on LinkedIn, then you probably don't want to talk. I mean, what are they using? A phone book?
And are you open to our job searchers reaching out to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, if anyone wants to reach out, you can post my email address.
Cam just dropped your LinkedIn in there.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to me. You know, find, you know, 10, 15 minutes for a chat. And then that way I can keep you in mind for stuff.
That sounds amazing. Do you have any final parting words of advice for our job hunters?
Empathy. These people are, they are super busy. Have every conversation you can have. Anyone that's willing to talk to you, if you're looking for a job, you're not too busy to have a conversation. And here's the thing, you never know what's going to lead to the job, right? You might have 20 conversations about specific jobs and have 2 about something completely unrelated. And one of those 2, oh, you're looking for a job? Oh, you got to talk to my buddy John or Sarah, and you know they have a job right now, and a lot of times you back into something. So you know, having as many conversations you can, networking, again, the empathy theme. If somebody else is looking for something and you can do something for them, now they're going to want to do something for you. So you know, networking as much as you can. You know, yeah, take every call. Yeah, totally agree.
This was awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. This was so inspirational, and you've had a lot of great advice for everybody. So really, really appreciate you hopping on with us today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hope I helped.
You did. It was wonderful. Well, thanks everybody for joining us, and we will see you next Monday for our next Job Search Council, but we'll see you in the Slack channel as we keep putting jobs and connections in there. Good luck, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye.
Thank you.